This one's going to be a blast to the past. When I was about 8 years old, I didn't have any video games yet. I wasn't allowed to play video games, and that mostly had to do with my parents probably just saying, hey, it's probably more healthy for you just to go outside and enjoy life and play with toys and experience the world. However, whenever I got the chance, I was always looking for a way to play a video game. Now, I had my own personal computer around the age of 8 or 9. Actually, it wasn't really my personal computer. It was more like the family computer, but I was the only one using it, so it ended up being my own personal computer. And I would go on the internet and I would look for games because I didn't have a video game console. I didn't have a SNES, an N64, GameCube, or PlayStation 1 or anything like that yet. And I would go on the web searching for these games. Now, if you were on the web in the 90s and you didn't know anything about internet safety, you were pretty much like walking through a field of landmines, because there were so many viruses on so many different sites that you could just get infected with, and it would just demolish your computer, and your computer was just screwed. And most of these viruses weren't trying to steal your data or steal your credit card information. Most of them were just really just trying to cripple your computer so your computer wouldn't function again. So I would go on the internet, and back then, a lot of people were kind of scared of the internet. They're like, oh, this is a place where you get viruses and it'll destroy your computer. Don't go there. It's not safe. The internet is this dangerous place no one goes to. However, I was very curious and I just wanted to go there anyway. And I would look for these games. And I eventually found this web game. It was an original port of the arcade video game Rampage. Someone had put on the internet. And to me, this was like one of the coolest things because I didn't get to play video games, and I finally found a video game I could play. And Rampage was it. And this game is kind of strange. You're basically this like mutated monkey or rat or lizard, and you go around the city just destroying buildings, and the military's fighting you, and you die pretty quickly. It's pretty hard to get past level 3 unless you have additional coins you can keep putting into the arcade machine. Now, I think the port I was playing didn't allow you to put additional coins into the machine, or I just didn't understand that you needed to do that to continue playing. So I kept getting to level 3 and maybe level 4 and then just dying and then having to start all over again. I don't know if there's an ending to this game. I've never played it long enough to know if you can get to a certain point where you win. I don't know if you can win at this arcade game. I don't know if you can win at arcade games in general. I think, as far as I know, they just keep going indefinitely, sucking your money out of your wallet until eventually you're like, okay, I've had enough. So high scores are a little bit inflated, let's be honest. But this was the game for me at the time, and I was super stoked that I got to play it. I found it on the internet and I would play it. I really enjoyed this element of destruction. It was fun. You're like blowing up buildings. Like, what 8-year-old would not enjoy that? There's probably some 8-year-olds that wouldn't enjoy that, but I was an 8-year-old who did enjoy that. And this game started my obsession with finding video games that had destruction physics in it. Now, I played quite a few games that have had destruction physics, and over the years as they've developed, they've gotten better and better. But there's never truly been a game where you can destroy everything. And I mean everything. Like, even to this date, the closest video game I have ever found that you could do this was Teardown. Now, Teardown's a pretty cool game, and you can destroy pretty much the entire environment. However, you can't like leave nuclear craters inside the ground. Like, you can't blow up the physical environment outside of the buildings and structures that are put into each level. The pavement, the ground, the grass, whatever it is, I always wanted to be able to like tunnel in and like put explosives down there and see what would happen if I exploded the ground. I still haven't found a game that could do that. Second of all, if you make a game like this, it requires a massive physics engine. Like, the game has to do so many calculations to figure out which piece is going where when an explosion happens or when you blow something up. So making these video games, it's understandable that they haven't really happened yet. The amount of work that goes into making a destructible video game is a lot, astronomical, most likely. However, if you haven't played Teardown yet and you like blowing things up, I strongly recommend playing Teardown. They just added multiplayer co-op, which is pretty sick, and it's a phenomenal game. But when it comes to Rampage, yeah, this was the start. This is where it started my love of destruction physics. And it was cool being able to play this as an 8-year-old, finding it on the web. It felt like you found some secret gem that no one else knew about, and I got to play. Especially when I didn't have any video games at the time, so it kind of holds a little special place in my heart as one of my first video games, even though it wasn't technically my first one. But it was just a nice time period in history that I can think back on, finding these web games on the internet. There was a few others. One in particular I have not found to this day. So if you happen to know what this is, I would be greatly appreciative if you were able to tell me the name of this game. This would have been around 2001 to 2003, maybe 2004, roughly around this time period. There was this web game, and it was a dog fighting spaceship simulator. So you would, and I'm pretty sure it was set on like Mars or something like that. So the colors were like orange and your ship was gray. And basically you would start off, you'd have to take your ship off the landing zone, and then you would fly, and then you would have a dogfight in the air with these other spaceships. And it was like on inside like a Mars-like atmosphere. I have to this day never found this game again. I've been looking for it. I really hope that one day I can find it and play it again. It was one of my favorite games back during this time period. And it was like one of the same games I played along with Rampage and a lot of other games that were on miniclip.com. I don't know if you're a 90s kid, you might know miniclip.com. They had a lot of cool web games you could play. This game was not on Miniclip, if I remember correctly. It was on some random website somewhere. So this is super obscure, and if you happen to know this, I would so appreciate it if you could put it in the comments. Let me know what game you think this is, and I will go check it out and maybe end up making a video on it. I will probably most likely make a video on it if someone finds it out. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video about Rampage, Destruction Physics, and Teardown. Catch you in the next one.